welcome to episode 4 of the Power Stance podcast. In our last episode, we talked about friendships and making new friends as people in a different stage of life in our 30s, moving to new cities. And one of the things we talked about was keeping up with our friends that live, like I call them long distance friends, just don't live close to me anymore. And so I have to find different ways to keep up with them. But one thing that I was like, hey, we have a podcast and we can tell our funny stories on this podcast. And that way, if people who are our friends want to hear our crazy funny stories, they have a place they can go to anytime to listen to them. So this time we thought we'd talk about some of the fun trips that we've been on just the past year. I mean, even the past few months, like we've been on some cool trips and had some fun adventures. So thought Paige and I could just shoot the breeze. Is that what it's called? I don't know what the actual terminology, the idiom is, but tell some fun stories of our crazy lives.
I'm the worst at idioms. I mess them up all the time.
Yeah, and I don't realize it sometimes till after, where I'm like, that wasn't right. That didn't make sense.
But so
now
confident.
It's stuck.
Yeah. My favorite, and I didn't realize it was wrong, but I would say, well, we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. And then I was like reading this thing that was like idioms people say wrong. And it was like, said that. And I said, oh no, what is it supposed to?
You are we'll shooting two birds with one stone.
Yeah, exactly. That I was like, oh yeah, just burn the bridge when we get there. Just why not? I don't know why that makes more sense, but it did. So,
I mean, it sounds very like, it sounds like the meaning
powerful,
would be very different, but also like very strong and meaningful.
Yeah.
But I believe we talked about it like in season 1 at some point, that Paige and I went to the Taylor Swift concert back in April 2023. That was like one of her first concerts that she did in Arlington, like first concert of the whole Eras Tour run. And it was in Arlington in Dallas, which was super, super fun. We like snagged tickets somehow and were just like had really good seats and all that kind of stuff. And so that was before the Eras Tour like really blew up. And so we were really glad we got to go, because now it's like super hard to get tickets. So I just really thought like that was it. But our friend Sarah is a huge Swiftie. She's the biggest Swiftie of our friend group for sure, but that I have ever known. And so she like would let me know immediately, like, hey, the ticket lines are open online for like upcoming trips. And so I like jumped in line for one, and she jumped in line at the same time. And so she didn't get through, but I got through to the Ticketmaster ticket line and got tickets for Toronto, her tour stop in Toronto, which was at the very, very end of her tour. So she did this whole like international thing, and then came back through the US and then ended her tour in Toronto and then Vancouver at the very end. So ended her tour in Canada. I probably got tickets like at the end of 2023.
Yeah, probably like a year and a half at least, though.
Yeah, a year and a half. And so it was a long time to be like, oh, but I feel like the anticipation was there the whole time of just like, yay, like this trip, is something I can look forward to. July 2024, we had our wedding in Banff. So that was a Canadian trip that was in Alberta. So that was more just central Canada. And so obviously going to Ontario and Toronto in the fall was another Canadian trip. But traveling with Sarah was really fun because I went to London with her in 2019, also for a big concert. We went to the Spice Girls concert. This is like year before COVID. We were both still single, both just like exploring the city. And so this time it was really fun to almost like just like kind of revisit some of the same memories of like, okay, we're like planning for a big concert, and so we got to plan our like cute little outfits and plan, how we're going to get there and get home without dying and things like that. So I was really glad that we picked Toronto because I wanted to, just see a new city. And Toronto has really excellent public transportation, and that was kind of the main thing about going in November, was like, I really don't want to get a rental car in case there's like a freak blizzard. I had this like huge anxiety in my mind that there'd be a freak blizzard during that time and I just wouldn't be able to drive. And so I was like, we just have to like find a hotel or Airbnb that we can stay at and take public transportation, which we did. But that was a really, really fun trip. Obviously went to concert at the Rogers Center, and it was, I was telling Paige about it before, like after the concert, like it's very different seeing like her at the beginning, and then she was doing it for like 2 years, you know, and then seeing at the end, and some of the set had changed and stuff like that. So that was really fun because there was a lot that I liked about the Arlington one and the songs that we got to see at that one, but it was nice to like kind of see some of the new stuff too. I was really scared when I saw like so I went on this website to like look at where our seats were, and I thought we were going to be right behind one of those like giant the poles that like shoot out fire during you know, Bad Blood and stuff like that. I thought we were going to be like seated right behind it, or we couldn't see. So like the whole night before, I was so like not crying, but I was just like, I'm so sorry, Sarah, like I got us terrible seats and stuff. And she's like, it's gonna be fine, like it's the third one she'd been to, so she was just like, I'm just enjoying like being there and stuff. And I was like, yeah, but like, you know, I wish like, you know, I'd gotten better seats and stuff. But when we got in and found our seats, it was like right between like two of those pole things that had like a perfect view of the stage. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like it could have gone really badly and we just had like a big pole in our way the entire time. But it was a great concert. Just a lot of fun to be, you know, to be there and to be able to sing and dance and stuff and enjoy ourselves. And then, and so then after that, we spent a few days exploring Toronto. Didn't get to do too much, but we did visit, like, they have a famous, it's an indoor market, kind of like the Pike's Place Market in Seattle. It's like, they have a lot of different shops and food. It's called St. Lawrence Market. So that was really fun. And we also watched Wicked because it had just come out, the Wicked Part 1.
Oh, yeah.
So that was fun because Sarah and I had gone to see Wicked, the show, in London. Like that was the first time I saw Wicked, the show, was with her at the Apollo Victoria in London. And so, and you know, we all love Wicked, the Broadway musical. And so watching the movie together just kind of felt like had a lot of parallels to our last trip together. And then the big so we also did the like Christmas market one night, which was fun. And then the big thing that Sarah really wanted to do that I'm glad that she got all booked and stuff was that we did a day trip to Niagara Falls, which I'd never been, not even on the like American side. And so that was really cool because we did the only thing I knew about it was like the episode in The Office where they like Pam and Jim like get married and and so we took the boat into the falls and had some fun pictures of us like in these red ponchos looking really ridiculous. But yeah, it was a very long trip. I mean, we were only there less than a week, but we packed it in for sure as much as we could. And there was no freak blizzard, thankfully. I was a little bit like it was actually not that cold, but I think because it was Canada, I thought it was going to be like snow drifts like up to here and we'd be like trudging through snow to like get to the concert. But it was like in the like 40s Fahrenheit, actually. So it wasn't even that bad.
It's just so funny the things we get in our head about places.
So I wish I had been able to explore more, but I do want to go back and do the distillery district where the winter village was when it's not a winter village because my husband's really into whiskey, really into like tasting different kinds and stuff. And so I think it'd be really fun to go back with him and like visit the different distilleries and try like different kinds of Canadian whiskey. But I would say if you don't have a lot of time, but you're visiting Toronto as a non-Toronto city lover, which they might disagree with me, but I really think you should just take the time to do Niagara Falls because it was so cool. you could like rent a car, or if you're driving, drive your own car to the falls. But I actually really enjoyed the bus tour. It was like a shuttle, it wasn't as big as like a big bus, but because the tour guide, like, he would tell, while we were driving, there was like a 2-hour drive, he was telling us all these stories of people that tried to go over the falls and like survive. And so I think the first lady to go over the Niagara Falls and survive did it in a barrel. Like, she went inside a barrel and like patted it with, I don't know, pillows or something, and like survived going over the falls in the barrel. So just like, he told some like interesting stories like that. And then we did like a bathroom stop at a like a gift shop kind of place that had a lot of maple syrup, which of course, if you go to Canada, you got to bring home a ton of maple syrup.
Gotta get it.
But that place was cool because it had a maple syrup tasting. So kind of like a whiskey tasting, but for maple syrup. And you got to try in your syrup flight, you had golden, amber, and then dark like tastes of each maple syrup. So each of them are just like when it's harvested at different times. So that was like fun because I didn't realize there were so many different kinds of maple syrup, or not kinds, but just like such a difference between like the different colors of it. And then the falls part, I would say for sure, we kind of debated if we wanted to go up on the observation deck because it was an extra cost, but like we went, and I'm glad we did, because the view from the Canadian side seems to be much better than the view from the American side. Only because the Canadian side, you're actually looking straight at the falls, or like, from above, you're looking at the falls. And then the American side, the observation deck is like right above it. So like probably also a really, really cool view. Like, you can look straight down on them and kind of like, it looks like you're falling over them, I guess. But if you want to see like the whole visual picture, the Canadian side has a better view. But like the really cool thing about that, I didn't know, I guess I was really ignorant. I didn't know Niagara Falls was like 2 parts to it. So there's the American Niagara Falls, which is like actually really it's like a regular looking waterfall, and it's like really rocky at the bottom, and supposedly no one's ever gone over that and survived because you would die like crushing on all the rocks. So that one is the American side, and then the Canadian side, they call it, is Horseshoe Falls, and that's kind of what I think everybody thinks of. That one doesn't have rocks, and that's the one that like people have gone over the years. Gotcha. And I think they don't let you do it anymore, but people have tried to sneak onto the river and tried to break records or whatever. But that's the one where if you get on the boat, they like take you down, to the Horseshoe Falls, and then we got to wear like, they gave us these ponchos, these ridiculous red ponchos with like really pointy hoods, because like that's going to protect us from water. I mean, it does. It's better than being poncholess. But, I was just like, okay, we're going to get a little bit wet, So like our tour guide had told us, if you don't want to get too wet, like here's where you should stand in the boat. Because people were like at top. We were like, we want to like, not get that wet. It was really cold. It was like middle of November.
Yeah.
There's like a corner that you can stand in that's like a little bit more shielded. So we're like staying in the corner and we're like taking videos. It's like, okay, it's not too bad. And then all of a sudden it's like whoosh. It's like a thunderstorm like opened up above you and just like started pouring rain on you. And so you can't avoid getting wet, honestly, no matter where. But
good to know.
I think we still had like a good spot to take like videos and things like that. But yeah, that was really, really fun. I think I would love to go again and do it when it's warmer, maybe like a summer trip.